when last we left our intrepid adventurers, they had rescued the pixies, but the dream wasn't satisfied for some reason. And yeah, the forest spirits, or what, the elemental spirits that were sort of trying to construct this dream to answer Krosis' question, why me and why doesn't it all end, thought we might be able to answer that question by doing all that rigmarole in the castle. Instead, just a bunch of stuff happened. And so now the dream transitions to the final scene.
Well, and it all fell apart and ripped apart, too. That's how Tim described it. And he also said during the scene, while the whole previous time you kind of had in your mind, like, the elemental spirits are like, this is what the dream is about, this part, like, the elemental spirits are not there.
They've given up, basically.
The party has been plunged into the very depth of Krosis' nightmare, the very crux of exactly why he's so broken.
We're trying to climb the wall of the chasm. And so this session was another combat session. And the map was a vertical face of the cliff. And so there were some ledges on the cliff, and there was some sort of cracks that were vertical cracks that were easier to climb in and were more sheltered. That was the terrain. So the whole thing was vertical. And there were just a few spots that weren't.
Because it was a dream, and because Krosis had climbed this before, you could just auto-climb just at half speed. So you didn't have to make checks to climb, even if you're a wizard. You could just climb at half speed.
There were a few situations where climb checks did come in handy, or were necessary, but that was special stuff, like, you know, you just had a big thing drop on you or something like that, or you tried jumping down to a lower level or whatever.
Right.
So yeah, we started at the bottom, and we actually can see Krosis. He's physically present, but he's way up the cliff. He's climbing, and we appear on like a ledge down near the bottom, and there's like roiling chaos below us. It's rising, so it's like it's like one of those side-scrolling levels where, you know, doom is coming.
Yeah.
And I think Queen Anastasia showed up right off the bat. This like, there were these horrible skin birds or whatever, that were these birds made out of human skin or something like that, were flying around, and this fireball, this brilliant light, comes swooping in and kills a bunch of them, and then comes swooping down to us, and it turns out it's Pixie, and she introduces herself as what was her full name? Queen Anastasia.
I thought that was it.
Just Queen Anastasia? I thought she had a long name.
But that's all I know.
Queen Anastasia. She's all very, elegant and spoken and all that kind of stuff. It's Stacia. Yeah. So yeah, now we know her actual name. And so she greets us and says she senses that we have done a boon for her people. And so she says she owes us favors, one for each pixie we save. And what else did she say?
I think she asked you to help Krosis.
Yeah.
But that she has to stay up with him.
Yeah, so she went back up to go and help Krosis. But we could call on her aid 6 times over the course of the combat.
Isn't it 5?
5?
Maybe you're right.
We rescued 6. We ended up not using them all anyway, so it's all right.
And so she could come and...
Oh, right, this number 6 came from a different thing.
Yeah,
we only rescued
5.
Yeah.
So, and she could come and, like, nuke a bunch of enemies. She could grant someone a healing surge.
Even if they didn't have
a healing surge. And she could save someone from falling.
Yeah.
That was what you could call her for. And she could restore a lost daily.
Yeah, because most of us have used all our dailies at this point.
So she had those are the things you could call her for, and they could call her 5 times to save 5 pixies.
Yeah. So we start climbing, and the skin birds attacked first, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
The skin birds were basically like if you took a flap of human skin and cut it into a shape of a bird, and then it flies towards you. Yeah. And they fly up and they wrap around you and like a leech and start sucking blood through your skin.
Yeah.
They suck.
They're minions, but they have this special thing where if you damage them while they're in a square adjacent to you, they do a fortitude attack against you, and if they succeed, then they do a bunch of damage to you, and they don't die. So basically, they drain some of your life energy to sustain sustain themselves through the attack.
Oh.
They're like minions, but they're hard to kill.
Yeah.
So you like chop them and they go.
Yeah.
Oh, my arm.
So it sucks when they're adjacent to party members. They're not as minion-y anymore.
Right.
And hitting them can do damage to the party members. So those guys came in, and we fought them a bit. And I think it was decided very early on. Cricket sort of wound up a little further up the cliff than everyone else. They decided to tell Cricket to just sprint for Krosis or something like that. And I think that was an early strategy we came up with.
Yeah.
I seem to recall discussing that briefly, and Cricket just charging up the cliff. She didn't want to because she wanted to stay with the party and protect them, but the party told her to, right? So she did.
They also, one thing that was notable about the skin birds is they, if you hit them with radiant damage, they couldn't do that. So Aurora was like awesome against them.
Yeah.
Also, she resists more than 10 necrotic. And I couldn't remember, I think there's a rule, but I couldn't find it, whereas if you have something that's like, you do such and such damage and then you get this, if all your damage is negated, you don't get this. I couldn't remember that, but I vaguely recall reading that somewhere in 4th edition.
And it just made sense.
And so I just went with that, because that's what I vaguely recalled, and I'm like, whatever, it's cool, I'll look it up later.
Yeah.
So if the only thing those skin birds were next to was Aurora, they couldn't do their I'm not a minion attack, because they couldn't actually damage her, because she resists their full power of their necrotic attack. So.
I mean, in this scenario, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, it made perfect sense, and so whether or not that's the official rule or not, I just was like, I'm just going to go with it.
Yeah, I don't know. It seemed quite logical, so we went with that, and that was good. So they fought the Skinbirds, and Cricket was sprinting up the wall. Who was it that first spotted the first stone? Was it Aurora? I think it was Aurora that spotted the first stone.
I thought it was Cricket that spotted that there was something glinting, and then Aurora went for it. Aurora got the first one.
Hank has the awesomest perception of all of us. It may have been him.
Yeah, I think it was someone else spotted a glinting, and then Aurora went for it, and she found it. So.
Oh yeah, and Hank is turning into this horrible chaos monster because he got.
Oh, he's still
got that.
Yeah, so
he's got like spikes and he's like.
Yeah, the porcupine spikes are growing out of him, and he's on fire. So he's like the porcupine dog on fire thing. But it's like that's who he is, and he's.
This is your life now.
Feral and twisted, and he's resisting it though. So as long as he's resisting it, he's dazed. But he, as a free action, he can make this like super chaos attack by giving into the chaos. So he's dazed, but he gets this free action attack.
Yeah. So someone spotted it, and Aurora went for it and found a waystone shard or a waystone jammed into the cliff face.
Okay.
Now I don't know if we ever related in any of the tale tellings, or if you remember. Over time, Krosis has told us the story of what caused him to be so messed up. And we recognize this part of the story. We've heard it before. When he was trying to climb out of the chasm after all of his comrades had fallen,
right.
He had collected their hearts, their waystone hearts, and was trying to bring them with him.
Yeah.
And he didn't...
That's the way of getting his companions out. Is to get their hearts out, then they can go home and be there, not be trapped in the chasm forever.
Right.
Yeah. But he didn't have pitons, and so and also the walls of the chaos chasm are like alive and horrible and nasty and stuff like that. But if he jams the waystone in there, that neutralizes the chaos in that area. So he was using the waystones as pitons, and Stacia had told him that she was collecting them behind him and bringing them along. But she was not, and so they got left behind. And this is sort of the straw that broke his brain, the camel's brain. And so there's one of the waystones jammed in the wall, and Krosis is way up there. He's left it behind. So Aurora pulls it out of the wall. I'm gonna bring it up to Krosis. The wall immediately comes alive. This is not good. It starts fighting us.
Right.
Also, there's more horrible monster things coming. It was flesh balls next, I believe.
They're bouncing like sideways on the chasm, boing, boing, boing. That's how every time he moves, they're boing, boing, boing.
And Cricket has run up ahead, and she gets mobbed by giant balls.
Flesh balls,
giant
fleshy balls.
Yeah, they all slam onto her and grapple her. She's all covered in balls. And yeah, I went. Did I go to 0 there? I think I went to 0.
I think that was because you had to call Stacia there.
Yeah, I didn't call. One of the other party members did. Called Stacia.
That's where you went to
and
0,
had her
yes.
come to rescue.
Yes, they all like crammed onto her, and you were like planning how you were gonna. No, it was just you got totally.
Yeah.
And they were like,
that was later.
She was like, should we call Stacia to save me? No. But then someone else called her.
Yeah. I was like, no, save your calls for yourself.
So the screaming anvil comes down and destroys all the balls that have been hitting her, and then grants her a healing surge, even though she's out of healing surges.
I actually still had 2 at that point, but I spent them both right afterwards to try and boost my hit points back up.
And healed her so she didn't fall, and then she went shooting back up to the top.
Yeah. I don't think I did anything that round. I was too busy being dead and then coming back from being dead.
But also when Aurora grabbed that one waystone, she or someone spotted that there was actually another one fairly nearby, and so she I think she action pointed to get over there and pull out the other one. So now she pulled out both of the ones that were in the bottom. So the whole bottom of the wall came to life, and all like most of the party except for Cricket were all down at the bottom of the wall. And I was thinking like, why didn't people wait until she was? And this wasn't like Aurora being impulsive. This is just everyone's like, yeah, pull it out.
Yeah.
And I was like, should have waited like totally because it was obvious that was going to happen.
Yeah.
But they didn't wait.
We were in a hurry.
It's true. There was a lot of pressure.
Yeah.
There was monsters coming. They had just like they had fought one thing, but then and they could see that there were these horrible apes climbing up the chasm from below them. Mm-hmm. So it's true. They were just like
grab them and go. Now, in Krosis' stories, we know that he had 6 companions. That's where the number 6 came from. So we figured, okay, there's probably 6 of these waystones. We don't have to get them all. I bet even if we just return 1 or 2 of them to Krosis, that would count as a bit of a win. But let's see what we can do. Let's see. I'm trying to remember the sequence of events here. Personally, I wound up a little bit focused on myself during this session because there was a couple of spots were pretty tight.
I thought it was a pretty cool session because it was really intense and there was a lot of, like just trying to survive because everyone was low on everything. But I don't know that it necessarily tells well because it was mostly just like, hey, we gotta survive this, we gotta survive this.
I mean, with Cricket, I was sort of wedged into this vertical crack. It gave me some cover.
In a vertical crack with balls around.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just wedged yourself into that crack.
Yeah. I suggested having Serendipity, Van Goldstrike, Moore, Topper, Tower, Shep, Soulstrike, this time Doomdelayer bring out her balls to have a ball fight. Mm-hmm. But
a party.
Yeah.
Ball party.
But I think she'd already used up those dailies or something, so she couldn't bring out her balls. So anyway.
I think she leveled up, she might have lost one of her balls too.
Oh no, she's only got 1 ball?
I'm not sure about that. She's also a wizard, so she prepares spells. So it could be she has them, but she didn't prepare them.
Yeah. There was this really cool bit. I'm trying to... I mean, a lot of this is all jumbled up in sequence in my head at this point. Cricket, after the balls swarmed her, she got a bunch of hit points back. But then the giant apes came along. No, it was the elemental... Everything that was coming at us was all minions. Every wave was more minions, but there were different types of minions. After the balls, we got these elemental things that were just like, fire things and electricity things and cold things or whatever. And they just inherently did damage to things that were around them.
Of course, when you kill them, they explode.
And they explode. They do a bunch of damage automatically. So that one was a lot of trying to maneuver party members away from these things before killing them and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. But Cricket got pretty badly hammered, and she's still all on her own up there. I wound up with 4 hit points, no healing surges, and I'm adjacent to these things that will auto-damage me when my round starts. Mm-hmm. So I was like, oh, Cricket is dead. What can I do with her dying breath to aid the party? And so I'm going through my what dailies I have left and all that kind of stuff. I pick out all these things. They're like, okay, I can do this and this and this, and then my corpse will fall into the chasm, and the rest of my party will be benefited by that. All very nice. And then Serendipity, Van Goldstrike, Lord, Topper, Tower, Shepherd, Soul, Stride, Doomdelayer, noticed that she was wearing the partnered Ring of Brotherhood that Cricket was wearing, which allows you to transfer a healing surge. And she still had 4 of them. I had got that set of rings, so that I could give her healing surges. And so I had been hoping she wouldn't notice that. Because I'd been looking through my stuff, and I'm like, the Ring of Brotherhood. That doesn't help me.
I'm just imagine that like Serendipity suddenly looks down at the ring on her finger, and Cricket sees her and starts trying to rip the ring off her own finger.
I did. I asked how quickly can I pull that ring off, but no, she healed me, and so I survived.
Hank climbed up higher to the top right of the board, and he
found some more way shards.
He ended up getting 2 way shards, which is great because when he got the first one, it starts pulsing with the heartbeat of the Oblin of Law, and it made him, I think he was no longer dazed. Mm-hmm. And then once he had 2, he was like completely himself as long as he was holding the 2 way shards. Yeah. And the way shards were pulsing with the heartbeat of the Oblin, which is very regular. And because they're in Krosis' dream, they can always feel Krosis' heartbeat, which is completely irregular, erratic, and doesn't match the Oblin heartbeat at all. Yeah. But it helped for Hank.
So now we had 4 of the 6.
Which is funny describing it so nonchalantly, because that was like these are tooth and claw, desperate rounds of like trying to spot them or fighting up horrible monsters, and
every round like half of us could have died.
Yeah, and everyone's down to their last healing surge, or they have no healing surges, no dailies.
At this point, Aurora asked for another favor from Stacia to get back the daily that lets her fly for the rest of the encounter. She probably should have done that right at the beginning. So now we had a very mobile character. She was zipping around, gathering up way shards.
She already had 2. Mm-hmm. And then she went to the area where the last... Must have been another one Maybe Hank had 3?
No, she had 3 when she flew up there.
Oh, okay.
I remember there was one left up there that we didn't know exactly where it was, but there was like this whole quarter of the map which we hadn't explored yet, so we were like, it's in there. But basically she flew up, and Hank had done this big sprinting climbing thing, and now it was Cricket and Serendipity, more top of the tower shippers, Diblair, who were the rear guard. And so we decided that's what we would do. We would just, try and stop all these chaos creatures coming up until we got killed. Hank and Aurora would gather way shards and then try and get them to Krosis.
If you die in the dream, what happens to you in real life?
You go to the crazy hut for a while.
Yeah. So they managed to find the 6th shard up there, and they pulled that out. And we were trying to figure out, did Aurora take the ones from Hank? I believe she did. So Aurora had all of the shards, and she started flying up to go and see Krosis. And that's when the next cinematic triggered, because we had all of the shards. And it turns out we didn't even ask all of Stacia's favors. At the end there, we were sort of thinking about how we needed to save a couple of favors to ask Stacia to take these shards up there before we died.
Right.
Yeah, the party really pulled it off, because Tim was actually trying to kill the characters. He was hoping that they would get at least 1 way shard before they died. That was his hope. Yeah. But they got them all,
and
no one even died. Although there was,
I came really
I don't know
close.
if they could have made it another round without dropping at least 2 people dropping. But
I pulled a what was it? Mace tail? Yes, I pulled a mace tail behemoth out of my bag of tricks. I haven't used that before.
This is when they were desperate. Yeah. We need anything. So he creates this Ankylosaurus on a ledge in the chaos chasm, and its sole purpose is to take a couple hits or take a hit from the horrible monstrous chaos apes that are screaming up towards it. So it just comes into existence in this horrible maelstrom with horrible monkeys screaming towards it.
It's too large. It's too large for the ledge it's on, so it has to squeeze to stay on this ledge. There's nowhere for it to go.
It's like a whale that appears in thin air. Oh, I'm a whale.
Yep. Whale fall.
Yeah.
And then right after that,
hello,
it was
ground.
actually
Nice to meet you.
When they actually found the last way shard. So it just ended. So it never even had. It just appeared there. They just left it behind horribly.
Yep.
Monsters.
Oh yeah, that was the only monstrous thing we did.
I just love that. It's just Ankylosaurus. Because
the dream ended at that point because we had recovered the things that Krosis felt were most precious to him, and our great reward for the past 6 sessions of bullshit. Our great reward is going to be that...
I think only Cricket has that attitude.
I'm representing Cricket here at the table. Is that we're going to get to be able... Each of us is going to get to be able to tell Krosis something, and he will listen.
They're they're in Krosis... They've kind of breached Krosis's heart.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
And it's hilarious Sorry, what?
Or maybe let the other people go before Cricket.
For every
The best. Go ahead.
I was gonna say that for every waystone they got, they can say one thing to eat. So they split them around the party, one each, and then there's two like.
Is the thought maybe they can say something that will fix him?
Yeah. Well, the hilarious thing is, for the past couple of sessions, I've been looking forward to seeing Krosis again. I actually had a prepared statement. And so when Krosis said that you get to say one thing, I reached in my pocket and I pulled out my sheet of paper and unfolded it. And I had I was ready to go. But since it was right at the end of the session, and for some reason no one else had prepared a speech to rant at Krosis about all this, we decided we would do that at the beginning of next session. So everyone else, we got a chance to prepare their speeches as well.
Whenever people say things to Krosis, he's just like, "Oh, it's a dream. You don't know what you're talking about." Whatever. So this is a chance to dispel some of the illusions. I know Tim is hoping that Krosis will get some better from this process. So.
He is nervous though. Well, he's nervous. He was sort of like telling us, don't like try and convince Krosis that slavery is okay or something, because that's not going to work. And I don't know, if Tim is still worried that Cricket is trying to convince people that slavery is okay, he clearly doesn't get Cricket.
Well, he said that, he will listen to whatever you say, but if you say something that's like, not just like about the dream, but like counter to his character, he'll still like consider it and then be like if you were like to convince him to be a slave owner, he'd be like, maybe I should own a slave. What am I thinking? But he's gonna keep thinking that, like, from time to time, maybe slavery no. But he'll take it seriously.
So anyway, I get another week to tweak my rant. I suspect it will do Krosis some good.
We're going to scold him like a wayward child.
Somewhat, yes.
I would just hold on to mine.
Oh, to use at a later date?
Yeah.
You don't have that option. It's right now.
Really? Okay.
It's like,
and Cricket really, really, really wants to use it now. She's been wanting to use it now for quite some time.
because this is, well, right now he described it as Krosis is standing there and you're in this gray, featureless area, and the dream is ending.
Right.
Now you have an opportunity to say one thing that he will believe, because it happens to him in his dream.
Right.
It's like Inception.
Right. Okay.
I don't even know if he'll remember it came from you. It's just like,
I thought that was
it's just like, yeah.
So yeah.
Then maybe I would say, when I say the word abracadabra, you will do whatever I say.
You're thinking about this too much like a gamer. This is a role-playing thing here.
Well, the problem with Krosis is that, like, he could completely upend your saving of the world because he's crazy.
He literally wants to destroy the world. I think that's pretty cool. He's decided that, the best way to end the dream is to help the Void Monster get what it wants, right?
Right, yeah.
So, fortunately, I suspect he's going to get a little saner after this. Maybe. Actually, I think Cricket's going to help.
I think everyone else will definitely help.
Oh, yeah. I know Cricket will feel better after this.
I'm sure at least one person will tell him that it's not a dream.
Yeah.
This is actually real life.
Unless we all assume someone else will, and none of us get to that.
Nobody does. There's just Cricket standing there at the end. Oh, I'm going to make this worse.
I guess that is why you came here, to try and stop him from working against the party goals.
No, we came here because you went into that glade and then asked a stupid question, and the spirit guide things threw up their hands and said, throw some monsters at them. That's why we're here.
That's adventurers.
That's why, so why are we here? Because Krosis did a stupid thing.
Why won't it end?
Because there's more monsters to kill. No, it's been pretty cool. I mean, we actually leveled up in a dream. That's going to be interesting.
About this carry over to the real world.
Oh, it carries over.
But you can only level up the mental statistics.
As long as the bite that was taken out of my ear doesn't carry over, I'm fine.
Who bit you again?
Aurora.
Turns out she's Mike Tyson.